So all that happened in North Portland last night. You see the truck there driving through a crowd of protesters. This occurred right before 11:30 on North Lombard. That's near the Portland Police Association building where demonstrations took place. You know, the camera's bouncing around. It's a little bit hard to see, but that truck is dragging a motorcycle underneath it. So what happened to the driver? Police are telling us this morning no one got hurt at this scene. They have talked to the driver of the truck and they're still investigating this morning.
Well, that was just one moment in a very active night of demonstrations. Police say a group gathered in southwest Portland, but then left on their own. That group in North Portland, though, stayed outside of the Union building until at least 3:30 this morning when police declared it a riot. They say people spent several hours trying to break into the building. They eventually did, tampering with the doors and setting up barricades. You can see they did eventually shatter that glass on a door to get inside. Police say people then set a fire inside the police union headquarters and sprayed it with graffiti. Police used crowd control munitions to break things up. Police also say someone fired several gunshots a few blocks away and one car was hit. Officers say when they got there, no one would talk to them about what happened.
Well, Portland is back in the national spotlight this morning after lawmakers in Washington, D.C. talked about the protests here, freedom of speech and violence. Bryant Clerkley joins us now with more on all of that. Good morning, Bryant.
Good morning, Brenda. And the hearing on Tuesday in D.C. was called Protecting Free Speech and Preventing Violent Protests. Deputy of Homeland Security Ken Cuccinelli said 140 federal officers sustained 277 injuries while protecting the federal courthouse in downtown Portland. He says most were eye injuries from lasers, including days-long blindness, but all those officers have recovered. He says other officers have had hearing injuries and they had been hit with objects.
People who are using every form of weapon. This is a water bottle, frozen, and they're getting thrown at our officers. The simplest thing in the world. And pipes, fireworks, chemicals, Molotov cocktails.
Violent conflict in Portland was down before Donald Trump got involved. Portlanders are standing up for justice. I've seen Black Lives Matter.
As you just heard there, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden also testified. He focused on constitutional rights. He asked who Americans believed was a greater threat to those rights, federal agents or protesters. Yesterday, DHS wrote on its website saying, despite what some may think, federal officers are still in Portland at, quote, augmented levels, and they say they're working with Oregon State Police to secure the courthouse, saying OSP is policing outside the fence surrounding the building while federal officers are behind the fence. And we should mention our crews were there the last few nights and have not seen them. Brenda.
Thank you very much, Bryant.